what is the right mindset for a recruitment business leader?
So I've got this view, I suppose, that to be a successful leader, if you're going to lead people, you've got to first of all be able to lead yourself.
Right.
So body of work around personal leadership. And I think personal leadership, the foundation for that is having a resilient and positive mindset, which I'll come back to in a second. But it also will include executive presence and communication. It might include empathy. It might include business acumen. So there's a whole number of things around personal leadership that you've got to get right before then you can perhaps aspire to lead other people. And the challenge, as we know, about a leader is that you've got to set the tone. You're on show 24/7, so you kind of need to get that right yourself before you lead other people. And the reason for that, I think, if we all were thinking about the leaders that we've enjoyed working with and those that we haven't, there would be some patterns developing about those good leaders that we've worked with. And I think people, first of all, they kind of want some understanding of who you are. This is back to the self-identity, who you are, what you stand for, what your values and principles are. And they're really important as a leader, because they, particularly in a recruitment business, because they often will mirror, they should mirror what the values and culture of the business are. So you've got to understand what you stand for before you assume that leadership. You've got to be very comfortable. And it is a challenge, because often, and I know when I was appointed, I was kind of like, who, me? You've appointed me, and you get all these sort of challenges around imposter syndrome and doubting every decision you make. But very important that I think that you just have this clarity about who you are.
Paul, would you mind? Oh, pardon me. Sorry, no, go on.
And then I was going to say that the other things really are that that you're clear and consistent in your, in the way that you operate in your decision making, so that you hold the line. Not always, so sometimes you've got to be flexible, but you broadly hold the line. And I think, if again being reflective, I think back to my career. One of my strengths was I was empathetic, but behind that strength was a huge weakness in that I was sometimes too flexible. So I think people like the empathy, but they didn't like the changing direction all the time, the inconsistency. So that's a challenge.
I think that's just on that point too, Paul. I think that's really interesting, because I was a bit similar. I toughened up a little bit later, but in the beginning I was a bit of a pushover. And what I found was that was bad, because the staff that were great, if they didn't see, if someone wasn't performing and that wasn't being dealt with, then the people who were flying along and doing well saw that in you, and that wasn't an attractive thing, and that left them open to being approached by other people. And so I kind of worked on that. But it is hard. It's always hard being not the middle performers, the really low performers. That's easy. They're not in the right job and they're happy to leave. The good performers, that's great too. But the ones in the middle, where you weren't quite sure whether you should work with them and help them, or whether it was time for them to go, and you're just putting too much effort in there and giving them too many chances, that was a real danger zone for me.
Yeah, me as too. So those, if I just go back to those two things are around resilience. So having a resilient mindset, that's self-identity, having a plan, holding the line, very important. And then particularly in recruitment, we're all about opportunism. So I think also you have to have this positive mindset as a recruitment leader. So that's really your growth mindset. That's your willingness to be comfortable with change, your ability to be confident. So that's that positivity. So again, you've got to work on that, because people are watching you all the time and they're taking their cue from, is he positive today or is he negative? What sort of mood is he in?
It's because he had his coffee yet.
He's completely different. What sort of monster have we got